flushing the Lachute River, flushing vast amounts of sewage from Ticonderoga, and flushing vast amounts of industrial toxins and industrial wastes from the mills on the Lachute River in Ticonderoga into Lake Champlain. So let me see, flushing vast amounts of sewage and flushing huge amounts of industrial wastes is what destroyed my family's marina on Lake George, New York back in the 1960s. So, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the first part of the 2000s, the teens, we're at 2020. Let me see now. That's, wow, it's like over 50 years. Over 50 years. David Wick and Basil Sagos and Governor Andy Cuomo and Judge Myers and Judge Terrence W. Boyle, over 50 years. They were flushing the Lachute River using Lake George like a giant toilet bowl reservoir. Flushing. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that they used the dam 230, also known as the Upper Privilege, Dam A, to flush huge amounts of sewage and industrial toxins and poisons down the Poop Chute River. That started in my life over 50 years ago, flushing all this sewage. Now today we got these combined sewage overflows, where all these great big cities in America, over 700, almost 800 American cities have combined sewers. And of course, when it rains and the sewer plants can't handle the sewage overflow, they just dump it into the rivers and the creeks, and they let it go down to New York City, and they let it go down to Toronto and Montreal, and they let it go down to Chicago and the old, what do they call it there, the Chicago River. Let's not forget the Chicago River and the St. Lawrence River and the Hudson River, just like the Lachute River, flushing vast amounts of sewage. Now, folks, this is going on all over the United States, and it's going on all over the world, from London to Paris to Milan to Barcelona, all over the planet. Munich, Wuhan, China. There we go. Oh, Wuhan, China, with their great big sewage flushing problems. Wuhan, China, President Trump and Michael Pence. And let's see, Attorney General William Barr and Mr. Fauci. Come on down, Mr. Fauci. Let's talk about Judson Witham's 50 plus years of experience involving flushing huge amounts of sewage and toxic industrial wastes down the river. It doesn't take rocket science, folks. Now, I want to move along here a little bit to how excrement, poo-poo, caca, shit, ladies and gentlemen, shit carries the COVID viruses and a bunch of others. Every time someone's sick with flu or influenza or Legionnaire's disease or encephalitis, or, you can name all kinds of different diseases. Excrement carries the viruses. And so they're dumping it and flushing it all over America. How about that, Attorney General William Barr? The government's sewage, the government's sewers, the government's combined sewage overflows. Just like in Glens Falls, New York. Ask the old Post-Star and the Albany Times-Union. And you can ask the Adirondack Explorer. And let's see, the Lake George Adirondacks News. Ask old Bill Hall about flushing sewage from Lake George, which I have renamed the Valley of the Turds. You see, folks, old Lake George is a great big old lake basin. It's a bowl. It's a great big old rock basin. And all the way around the lake, 6,000 septic systems have created these brownfields, the leach field brownfields all around the Lake of the Turds, the queen of America's septic tanks. And David Wick, over there at Lake George Park Commission, let's talk about lake retention and how long it takes to flush out Lake George. How long have they been flushing Lake George? Because we know from articles in the New York Times that the Army Corps of Engineers and the EPA and a whole bunch of other environmental investigation agencies of Vermont, New York State, and the United States, even UNESCO. New York has been using the Poop Chute River, the old Lachute River, to flush sewage from Ticonderoga for many decades. So, David Wick, how long have y'all been flushing Lake George? Yeah. You lied to me, Wick. You flat out lied. You and the Lake George Park Commission and the Lake George Association know damn well, just like DEC, that you've been flushing Lake George for decades, trying to get rid of all that green water. And if you got any problems with my assessments of the green water or the algae blooms, get a hold of the Lake George Association and Kathy Bozzoni, and let's see, Chris Novinsky up there at the old Darren Freshwater Institute. Let's ask the, what's his name there, Eric Sly from RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute. Let's ask Eric Sly how long it takes to flush out Lake George, the lake retention cycle for Lake George, New York, and why the waters are turning green from the 6,000 leach field brownfields all around the lake. Now, to the United States government, and especially to Judge Myers in Wilmington, North Carolina, and to Judge Terrence W. Boyle. What a fantastical story, huh? Covered in all the major news media for decades. How they flush the Lachute River of all that crap and pee-pee, wee-wee, caca, poo-poo, which carries all the COVID viruses. Yeah, the good old combined sewage overflows from Wuhan, China, to Milan, Italy, to Barcelona, Spain, to London, England, Paris, France, Chicago, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, all over the United States from Raleigh, North Carolina to Wilmington, Judge Myers. Combined sewage overflows carrying viruses out the wazoo from sewers and sewage owned by the government. What a fantastical story. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to provide you all the information and links below, and I want you to remember one thing. The up and down, up and down, up and down water flushing levels there, the old flushing of Lake George, has been something in my life for over 50 years. So if ever anybody, I don't care who you are, if anybody thinks I got this wrong, you just send me a note and we'll have us a little chit chat about it, and I'll straighten your dumb asses out. Ladies and gentlemen, they're flushing COVID all over the United States. That's how it's spreading. You might want to send that memo down to the Wall Street Journal, because everybody seems to be mystified about how all the people are being exposed to this sewage fiasco that is a pandemic plague. It's a plague, not just on China. Look into Wuhan, China's sewage problems. You'll discover that this excrement fiasco is going on all over this shitty world. Ladies and gentlemen, stop them from shitting it up any further and get up at their grill, especially with this bozo, Andy Cuomo, the governor of the state of New York, and his little clown sidekick there, Basil Sagos. And Letitia James, the Attorney General for the state of New York, Letitia James, take notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it at that. And as always, hasta la vista, God bless, and you betcha, we're coming back.